this is my story of sexual addiction, what I went through, what my relationship has been with this heart-level addiction, and how bad it got for me. Try and do this as quickly as I can with the time amount allowed on YouTube. I was horribly addicted. I was a very, very tough case. One of the toughest cases that you could come across if you were a sexual addiction counselor. I'll start back when I was a kid. I was exposed to sexual material at a very young age. Sexual abuse is in my past. I can't remember the first time, maybe 6. The second time I was maybe 9. I had a weird fascination with sex as a young kid. So pornography to me, when it was when the opportunity presented itself, I was fascinated. I was really caught up in that. I saw hardcore porn on videotapes when I was about 14 to start. My stepbrother and I found my dad's collection, and really started a fascination with porn for me. Looking at magazines, again, the videotapes, he had hours and hours of pornography on videotapes. Moved from Alaska to here, back in with my mom, and she divorced my stepfather. To rewind some, my parents, mom and dad, divorced when I was 7. My mom remarried to another guy who was abusive, and my dad remarried to my stepmother, Karen. Had some issues with her as well, but my stepfather, Jim, who my mom married, pretty much ignored me most of the time. But they divorced when I moved back from Alaska. They were going through the process. My mom was moving out at the time. So I moved in with my mom. She was a single mom again, and raising me. And I just got into more perverse sexual behavior, having sex with girlfriends, more pornography, showing pornography to my friends, getting them hooked on pornography, renting videotapes. When I was 18, you know, they didn't really care. There was a video store next to my mom's shop. My mom owned a dry cleaners at the time. A lot of promiscuous sexual behavior as a teen in high school. I got married, fell in love with this beautiful woman, my wife, who is my wife still today by God's grace and her grace and mercy. My wife Dana, I met her, and I just fell in love with this beautiful woman, and my heart, you know, fell. And even though I'd had my heart broken in the past by other girlfriends and thought that, you know, that all was about me, and sex becoming an issue in that as well. That intimacy, when two people come together like that, it just feels like you're supposed to be with that person, right? Forever. That's why God says not to do it till you're married, right? Because there is a connection and that heartbreak that happens in that. I felt that, and I had my heart broke a couple times as a teen, you know, having sex with these girlfriends that I thought I was in love with. Again, I met my wife Dana. We fell in love. We got married. She was pregnant with my daughter Alicia when we got married. We were living together out of wedlock when my wife became pregnant and we got married. Shamefully, I didn't get down on one knee and ask her. I mean, it was just like we were married in our hearts already, and I had this kind of attitude like, yeah, I'm already married, you know. We're just going to go make it legal with this piece of paper. But in my heart, we were already married. That's kind of how I looked at it, with my own authority in mind, not wanting to really do the legal part, because my mom had been divorced many times, and just that whole hurt that I hear from a lot of listeners, a lot of people, I had that going on as well. That's why I didn't want to do the legal thing. But when my wife became pregnant with my daughter, I decided, yeah, we'll go ahead and make this legal. We got married in front of all our friends and relatives, and It was a beautiful day. But I was still addicted. That's why I pray that you guys get this healed fast. Because it started with porn. Another 15, 20 years into our marriage, it was just porn, and then I picked up a hitchhiker. That was the first time I cheated on my wife. And then from there, that just was so easy to do that. And I cheated on my wife many, many times. I can't even count. My guess is around 40 different prostitutes I was with. It was really bad. For about a 4-year span of time, I was seeing prostitutes and customers that I knew, and just gross sexual relationships, short term, always looking for that little something, whatever's going to fill me, right? Like shot glasses of sand. I talked about that in the show, that I for some reason, trying to fill my heart with something was missing. And in 2003, I had to deal with my faith, my lack of faith. September 11th, when that happened, I just started to lose my faith in God, quit going to church. I didn't go to church for many years. I just didn't believe it anymore. But in 2003, my mom introduced me to her church, and Pastor Rick and Dan, who head up AC3 in Marysville, and they agreed to meet with me because I couldn't afford a real counselor. That's what I thought, you know. I wanted to, well, if I could see a psychotherapist, but no, you know. So I went to see Pastor Dan, and he really spoke truth into my life. And Rick, and I saw a counselor, saw a couple of different counselors, another Pastor Alec at Alec Lee Warner, Lake Stevens, and started to see my way out. I started the show in 2005 after going to a church function with a bunch of men, and a guy named James Brooke headed it up, and I saw that I'd gone a year without pornography, without using pornography, a whole year, and that was amazing to me that I could be that free, because I'd never gone a year. Like, I thought it was impossible, but I could even get there, and I had, and that was huge. And that's when I started the podcast in 2005. And from that day, from the day, I've been free. I've been totally free from sexual addiction. October 5th is my last acting out, 2005. It's great to be free. It feels good. I want you to experience this. I want you to know that there's hope for you. If God can set me free from this, He can set you free as well. Jesus healed my heart. There's something that took root in me, down in my heart, and changed my desire. It started on the inside, and it worked its way out. And I want you to experience that as well. My name is Russ Shaw, and that's my story. Sexual addiction.